introduced himself to Maluch. These two teams have played each other already. In an exhibition game July 20th in London, South Sudan lost by only 1 point. The rematch today is on the Olympic stage and should draw a huge TV audience. You can catch the game live at noon on the USA and Peacock networks. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join us for a book party celebrating The Covenant with Black America 20 years later. Almost 2 decades ago, the Covenant book, compiled and edited by Tavis Smiley, climbed to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list and stayed there for weeks. The first book by a Black-owned publisher to achieve such a feat. The urgency of the issues that matter most to Black fellow citizens has only intensified, especially in this critical election year. On Wednesday evening, August 14th, 6 to 9 p.m., come meet Tavis Smiley alongside Covenant contributors including Cornel West, Connie Rice, Mark Ridley Thomas, Elisa Orduna, Tyrone Howard, and Melina Abdullah as they sign copies of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later. You can purchase your books on site and get them autographed. That's Wednesday evening, August 14th, 6 to 9 p.m. in the city of Los Angeles. Admission is free, but you must register at KBLA1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
KBLA Talk 1580. Okay, I think it's tomorrow Mercury goes retrograde. It might be the next day. We're definitely in the wobble. Technical difficulties abound. Miscommunications abound. It's normal. Don't trip. Take a deep breath. Give yourself some extra time. It'd be like that sometime, and now is that sometime. Oh, this should be a barrel of laughs for the upcoming Democratic convention. That's actually, we're like, what, a little less than 3 weeks out from that. Next week, the Democrats are meant to be electronically officially nominating Vice President Kamala Harris as the standard bearer, the top of the ticket for the Democratic Party. And so, yeah, it should be nice and glitchy, but hopefully it's also a throwback in all the good ways, right? Because Mercury retrograde is also revisit, review, renegotiate. And so renegotiating the way we, I think, perceive and deal with Donald Trump. I feel like Vice President Harris is already doing that. She's so far been very effectively countering him and his troll army. That was on display yesterday in Georgia. What a rally. It's interesting because I'm from the Bay, and I know a lot of people and backstory surrounding the vice president. And I see how it's twisted and distorted, how it was twisted and distorted when she was running for attorney general, when she ran for Senate, when she had her first bid for the presidency, and the way that those conversations are being reviewed, renegotiated, and restated so that people are starting to understand all of the misinformation and disinformation. Vice President Harris has been a major recipient of attacks from the far left and the right, far right, center. And I think it's clear that the Republicans are in a full panic because they are now going very low. They're already going very low. They've got all these female surrogates lobbing bombs at her about her. It's so interesting, though, because it's one of the reasons I've said, and I've been saying this for years, and those of you who listen to Front Page and now First Things First since the beginning know that I've always said about Vice President Kamala Harris, it's almost like she's destined. It's almost like she's living her destiny because the way her career has gone. Now, I'm not saying it's been easy. She's been attacked along the way. She's had to work really hard. She had to pass the bar exam. Nobody did that for her. She had to get elected and run those campaigns. Nobody did it for her. So I'm not saying it's been easy, but there's this sense of destiny about it. For a black woman from Oakland to, step into the role of district attorney in San Francisco, then be reelected despite a campaign by police unions to stop her, and then to go from there to state attorney general. I remember having a conversation when the vice president first stepped up for her bid for statewide office. She was running for attorney general, and I had a conversation at that time with the owner of another radio station that I used to work at, who is a world-renowned music legend. I'll let you guess who I'm talking about. Miles back there doing his imitation. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you can figure out who that is. And he said to me, if this woman calls, put her on the air. I don't care if she's scheduled or not, put her on the air because she is really so talented, and this is one of the people that we need to track and be behind. And it was so interesting to me because the other time we had a similar conversation about a person, and there are only 2 times that I can think of in the almost 17 years that I worked for a certain radio station that happens to be owned by a Motown legend. And that other time was one Barack Obama. Isn't that interesting? It's like this man has some kind of inner vision about who may be popular, viable in American politics. It's the only other time. And because she was at that time, she was from, well, she's still from Northern California. And people in LA were not so familiar. It was a very, very tight race for state attorney general. Every vote counted. It literally came down to hundreds, not thousands of votes. And I remember at that time, I was hosting Front Page, and it was during the period when Ricky Harris was my, I guess, sidekick. He was my co-host on the show for some time. We were friends. Rest in peace, Ricky. I miss him so much. Great guy. But he would come in every day. So we decided after this particular, music legend said, hey, we really want to support Kamala Harris for Attorney General. And I said, yeah, of course. I'm familiar with her. I'm from the Bay. So me and Ricky started doing this thing where we would just randomly say Kamala. We would be in the middle of talking about anything. We might be talking about a, completely different story. We could be talking about a lowrider convention or the police commission meeting or, Tyrese's latest girlfriend, and we would suddenly just say Kamala, either one of us. And then, it was just a thing we did because we were trying to make people remember this name so that when they went to the polls and they saw state attorney general, they'd be like, well, Ricky and Dominique keep saying Kamala, Kamala, Kamala. Maybe I should vote for her. And we had her on the show along with her opponent, and not at the same time, separately. But we had her on the show a couple times, and we were thrilled when she won state attorney general. I am not under any impression that Vice President Harris is some progressive firebrand, even though, ironically, that's how the Republicans are trying to paint her. But what I do know is that she's effective, she's smart, she's to the left of Obama, she has experience bringing programs that are things we would typically think of coming from a progressive prosecutor, even though I won't call her that, and it was before that was a popular thing, right? Diversion programs, incarceration alternatives. She has been smeared many times for being exactly the opposite of what she is, and I'm glad that counter narrative is coming to light. I also think this thing about it being her destiny, it's not just me being airy-fairy. I know y'all. I'm into the New Age, ancient wisdom stuff, and y'all know that. But there's something about her path, and the way it's been so steady in a manner that we don't typically see for women at all in general, and black women in particular. I'm not saying that we can easily win, but I'm saying the possibility is there. It can happen. She can win this. And that sense of transcendence, of optimism, of joy, of having fun, of hitting her stride at just the right moment. Because if you saw any part of that rally yesterday with Megan Thee Stallion and Quavo and just 10,000 people out cheering and having fun, and it was a variety of folks that were there, or Raphael Warnock. She is channeling peak VP Kamala Harris right now. She has definitely hit her stride at the right moment. And, we can go a little bit more into the weeds. Do I love the immigration bill that Biden was trying to sign, that Biden was trying to get passed to out Trump, and then Trump turned away from it? No. But I love the fact that she took the fight to them instead of cowering in a corner or trying to pretend that that no one was talking about immigration like sometimes Dems do. She took the fight to them early, right in the middle, right at the beginning of her speech. She's speaking masterfully. She's campaigning masterfully. And there's a little tinge of this is meant to be. Certainly, we have to do the work. 800-920-1580. I know folks in the YouTube chat are talking about the National Association of Black Journalists. And I got calls from a couple people yesterday, journalists that I know that are part of that organization, that were pretty upset that the NABJ has welcomed Trump and not so welcoming to one Kamala Harris. I'm not a member of the National Association of Black Journalists. Not that I'm boycotting them. It's just something I never really made time to do. But there's tons and I've done events with them and all that. I mean, it's not that I'm against NABJ, not at all. It's a great networking organization. But WTF? Call me if you want, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Tavis is like George and Wheezy. He's moving on up. Last year, Tavis was number 45 on the Talkers magazine list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. Wait for it. Wait for it. The 2024 list was recently released, and Tavis has jumped to number 33 on the list of the nation's most important talkers, making him the highest-ranked African-American on the coveted roster. Congratulations to Tavis Smiley from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580. We've got you black.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin, ultra soft on the party. Less is more, so roll it back, everybody. Roll it back. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The grip is always soft. It's our party vibe. She's cushioning the things so our cheeks feel flat. So everybody wanna touch the sky.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Ooh, I'm so ready for this weekend away with my girl.
Hey, hit the road? How about some free gas?
Free gas? How?
Try new Febreze car for some serious freshness and you can win gas for a full year. Visit Febreze.com to learn more.
Say less.
You may not win, but you're gonna have a fresh smelling whip.
Thanks, DJ Fresh. Now how about some music?
Hey, yo, this next one goes out to new Febreze car for giving you a chance to win free gas.
La, 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 la.
No purchase necessary. Must be 18 to enter in 73124 for rules and how to enter. Visit Febreze.com.
Hey, I have a secret. I use Secret Whole Body Deodorant because more than just my armpits stink.
Oh, can I use it where my bra rubs under my...
Oh, yeah.
And what about down there? You know, my...
Totally. 4 out of 5 gynecologists would recommend it. So I tried it, and now I get 72 hours of freshness from my pits to my...
Ooh, I love that it's a spray.
Me too. And it comes in sticks and creams too. Go get your Secret Whole Body Deodorant.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
It absolutely does, and you're invited in. 800-920-1580. I told you Mercury was retrograde. All hell is breaking loose back here. But at the same time, Ariana and Miles are like, what is going on? Why is the NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalists, why are they making that decision? I don't know the answer to that. I know that anybody can join NABJ. I know that the panel of people that are meant to be interviewing him there include a Fox News host, and I know that the local chapters have autonomy. So if there are journalists in that chapter that are Trump supporters, they could have commandeered that decision. The decision has been denounced by chapters, NABJ chapters across the country, and including Chicago journalists. So I'm not really sure. They always invite the candidates to their conference, but it seems that they are giving preferential treatment to Trump over Harris, which is, if that is the truth, that is really foul. I know Biden addressed them virtually, and from what I understand, they didn't want they didn't want Kamala Harris to address them virtually. And I just feel 100% sure that had Biden wanted to address them virtually this year, they would have made that happen. Hillary Clinton spoke at it in collaboration with the Latino Journalists Organization in 2016. President Obama spoke at something which included the NABJ and at least 3 other groups in 2008. So it seems like there's some funny business going on, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm not part of NABJ. I'll certainly reach out to Jarrett and some other folks that I know that are avid members and former leadership there. And see what it sounds like, some internal politicking, because it sounded like it was a split vote. But again, Chicago is also, home of a very loud reactionary element within the Black diaspora, the Black American diaspora, of some MAGA folks, some new Confederates. And we've had at least one of those folks on this show. If you missed it, it's available wherever you get your podcasts. It's available on our app where we keep all of our podcasts as well, that have said, they're on a mission to turn Chicago red. They are planning a bunch of protests around the Democratic convention closer to the end of this month. And I'm not sure if that has something to do with it, if those are the same people that are inside of NABJ there in Chicago that are making those moves. I'm just speculating on that, but I certainly know that the reactionary element, and part of that is what we were talking about yesterday, which is this effort by Texas Governor Greg Abbott to bus migrants to cities that don't have resources to take care of those people. I do not understand why this is legal. We can just send you our migrants, our unhoused, our sick. I mean, that is exactly what they're doing. They're getting away with it. It's causing pressure on city resources. And these new Confederates are using that energy to convince Black people that they should vote for Donald Trump. Now, some really encouraging signs in the polling. I saw this in both the CNN poll and the Fox News poll, where Latino voters are dropping Trump like a bad habit. And that is very good news for Vice President Harris. It's very good news for people who don't want Project 2025 implemented. And it's very good news for anyone who's just hoping that we won't see Trump 2, the sequel. They are dropping him in droves, and that was not guaranteed because, as Senator Alex Padilla pointed out on the show, Latinos are a diverse group. They represent dozens of countries that go under the umbrella of Latino Hispanic, and what you get from Cubans is going to be distinctly different than what you get from Salvadoreans, Salvadoreños. So it's good news. There can be any number of reasons for that, but it is good news. It's also good news that black people are moving over to the Kamala column rather rapidly, too. That is a little bit surprising. It shouldn't be surprising. Like, if it were in the context of all of history, it wouldn't be surprising. But in the context of the new Confederacy and the MAGA folks, it is surprising because a lot of those people are in a cult-like mentality where it's like a supreme leader. It's really not about policy or even the candidate. It's beyond your normal candidacy into a cult. Not just a cult of personality, but a real like cult where they think this guy has. And one of my friends was saying, well, Kamala's like a cult too. No, there's nobody. Black woman, Latinos for Kamala, black win with black women, white dudes for Kamala. There's no one on any of the hundreds of thousands of people that have showed up to all these calls. East Indians for Kamala, the Latinas for Kamala. There's nobody in any of those groups that thinks that Vice President Kamala Harris is a messiah, a savior, that she is, the second coming. What they hope is that, what many people hope is that she is an experienced, sensible, and prepared person who is ready to take on this job and who can save us from Project 2025 being implemented. And you see how scared they are now. They got the Project 2025 leader to resign so that Trump can make it seem like he doesn't have anything to do with it. They put out a press release saying, we wish Project 2025 would go away. Not because he doesn't agree with every single thing in it, but because it's become a liability for his campaign. People are reacting to it. It's all over social media, and it's not a good thing for the Trump campaign. So now they're trying to pretend like it'll go away if a guy resigns, even though there's a 900-page document, which is a roadmap for how to transform this country into the dictatorship that he has openly said he desires. Perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. More right after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Vice President Kamala Harris is officially the only candidate going after the Democratic presidential nomination. Tuesday night marked the deadline to seek nomination, with candidates needing the support of at least 300 delegates to qualify. A forecast of triple-digit heat is posing a threat to firefighters battling California's Park Fire. The National Weather Service says temperatures will start rising today in Northern California, where the Park Fire has burnt over 386,000 acres and is only 14% contained. California drivers are among the most aggressive you'll encounter on U.S. roadways. That's according to a recent study by Forbes, which gave California commuters the top spot. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The U.S. men's Olympic basketball team is back on the court today in Paris. Second round matchup against South Sudan, a country that got its name and independence only 11 years ago. Do not sleep on the players from this small African nation. There are several players on the South Sudan roster with NBA and NCAA experience. South Sudan point guard Carlik Jones was the G League Player of the Year last season. They've got an 18-year-old 7'2" center named Kaman Maluch who's going to Duke in the fall. LeBron's agent Rich Paul has already introduced himself to Maluch. These two teams have played each other already. In an exhibition game July 20th in London, South Sudan lost by only 1 point. The rematch today is on the Olympic stage and should draw a huge TV audience. You can catch the game live at noon on the USA and Peacock networks. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Derek Jeter as the pinch hitter for your baseball team.
Jeter, you're in. We need a home run.
I'll give it a try. I've swung a bat once or twice.
That's out of here. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Finding a path to a meaningful career, one where you're making an impact and making enough money, it can be tough. There's one path, though, that many young adults are landing on that leads them to careers where they can work outdoors, protect our environment, take on climate change, and get paid while they train. It's the California Conservation Corps. You just have to be 18 through 25 years old to enroll, or a U.S. military veteran through age 29, and you have to be a California resident. That's it. There's no education requirement, no employment history needed. Some Corps members need to finish up high school. Others are college grads. But during their 1 year of service, all CCC Corps members can earn the work experience and certifications needed to become a wildland firefighter, forestry technician, install solar, or build trails in our state parks. Learn how you can enroll at ccc.ca.gov. Do this for you. Become the person you want to be through the California Conservation Corps.
When you turn to the Employment Development Department, we'll help you get there. Whether it's support for you and your family while you find a new job, or the resources to focus on your recovery after illness or injury, we can help you move forward. From support while you bond with your newborn, to helping serve your family while your partner serves our country. Your EDD. We'll help you get there. For more information, visit edd.ca.gov.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay, so I was not overstating the excitement around the rally in Georgia yesterday just because Megan Thee Stallion was there. I know a lot of people reject celebrities as the people to give them political advice. And I think that's a good trend, right? Do your own research, do your own reading. Don't just say, oh, well, Amber Rose says it, so I'm going to do it. But I think it is notable that Megan Thee Stallion has been working on women's rights issues, women's right to choose, and her right to terminate a pregnancy, especially in cases where her life could be endangered, et cetera, et cetera. That she's been working on that, and she's been working on it with Vice President Kamala Harris before Harris ascended to the top of the Democratic Party ticket. And so to me, that's a little different because there's an organic alliance around an issue. Same with Quavo. Quavo's been working on gun violence issues for obvious reasons. I think that we also, it's a fair comparison or a fair measure to say, let's see, I'm running a campaign for President of the United States. I can choose Megan Thee Stallion or Amber Rose. Megan Thee Stallion or Amber Rose. That's a no-brainer, right? Let's see, I'm working on a campaign for president. I can choose Kid Rock or Quavo. Kid Rock or Quavo. It's not even close. And I do think, that the Kamala Harris that we're seeing right now is not the same Kamala Harris. I mean, she's the same person, but she's not the same campaigner that she was in 2020, right? When she was trying to run for president, she's had time on the trail. She's been beat up by the media. She's had time to perfect her presentation even further. And 10,000 people, yeah, the Mickey Racine show says, 10,000 people at that rally is no joke. And they're fired up people. I also think, Morris Phillips, you're right. Rich celebrities have a different agenda than the working poor, i.e. 50 Cent. You're right. And you're right, Courtney Edward, don't follow all the ducks. But when you see a natural alliance that comes out of people working together on an issue, then that, to me, is important. That is different. And it goes to the excitement that we're seeing on the trail. But also, if you heard her speaking, she was at the top of her game. She was at the top of her game, and I love that. The way she closed out, she said, Donald Trump, if you got something to say it to my face. Anybody can relate to that. Say it to my face. She's like, they got a lot to say about me when I'm not there. I love that. Straight ahead to the point. Okay, so journalist and NABJ member Nabu Ramu is on the phone. You're at hi Nabu. You're at the actual convention,
Hi,
right? Hello. You're
yes,
in
ma'am.
you're in
I'm
Chicago.
Here now.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I just got here a few hours ago. Super excited.
Yeah. Well, congrats to you. You're you're doing the thing. Can you explain what happened? Like, why is I know, you were one of the people that was DMing me and texting me yesterday about this decision by the NABJ, not just to invite Donald Trump, but really to roll out, seems like they're rolling out the red carpet. And then my understanding is that the organization has declined to allow Vice President Harris to virtually address since she's not in town. Do you know what happened, what the behind-the-scenes decision-making was like in this situation?
Yeah, so from my understanding, they had invited both nominees to come and speak at the NABJ convention today or this year. And it's my understanding that they typically invite presidential nominees every electoral year. And so Trump had declined former invitations to NABJ, but this year he accepted the invitation. Kamala Harris, it seems like her schedule might be overbooked this week, and so she won't be able to attend. I'm not sure why they don't want to speak to her at a later time. I don't know if it's because
or
the convention will
virtually,
be over.
or virtually.
Possibly because the convention will be over and it doesn't make sense to
No, but what I'm saying is,
afterwards.
if she could join virtually while the convention was on, why would they not accept that?
That's what a lot of other reporters are questioning right now.
Yeah, I mean, because Biden addressed virtually, I understand, in 2020, and I'm pretty sure if he was still the nominee for the Democratic Party, they wouldn't turn down a virtual address from him in 2024, or y'all wouldn't. I don't know.
No, that's true. I just got on the grounds. I want to find out and get to the bottom of why Kamala Harris wasn't accepted for a virtual invitation. So far on social media, I think that a lot of reporters are mostly upset about the moderators that were chosen for Trump's panel because they feel like they're going to pander to him versus actually asking critical questions. And people feel like someone like Roland Martin is upset because he feels like he should be on the panel and we should have more black men representation. So it's like, I don't know what people are really upset about. Are they upset about the fact that we have Donald Trump coming, or do they feel like it should be them interviewing him? I don't know.
Well,
and are they communicating as a reporter?
Well, do you
or as a
think
voter?
that Trump would agree to be interviewed by Roland Martin? I tend to doubt that.
That's a good question. Because I feel like I've noticed on Roland Martin's page and a lot of conversations he does lean more blue. And Faulkner, the woman who is on the panel to interview him, she works for Fox News, and that they seem to be friends. And so that's the part that is like questionable by a lot of people.
Wait, who's friends? Roland Martin and her?
No, Faulkner. She's a reporter
Harris
for
Faulkner.
Fox News.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's kind of my question. That was kind of my point, Nabu, because if you look at what's happening with the debates now, Trump has said, number one, he doesn't want to debate Harris until she's the actual nominee. And the other thing is he said he's backing off of CBS and he wants it to be Fox News, that it shouldn't be on CBS, it should be on Fox News. So that's why I'm saying I doubt that he would have agreed to an interview with Roland Martin.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't agree. I wonder what it's going to be like in the room. Like, will it be open to Q&A for the whole entire organization?
I guarantee you that ain't happening. I guarantee you that ain't happening. But certainly let me know if it does. I mean, if pigs are flying, I want to know about it. According to this article in
If you were to ask him a question, what would you ask him? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I was just going to say, according to Axios, they're saying Rachel Scott from ABC News, Harris Faulkner from Fox, and Semaphore reporter Kadia Goba, who I'm not familiar with, are the interviewers. You know, I would have to think about that because I have so many questions for Trump. And I know once I asked one, I would not be allowed to ask any further ones. So what's the most crucial one to ask? Is it about, what his plans are for Gaza? I think that's a pretty important question because a lot of Black Americans are saying they want Trump, but they also claim to want to free Palestine. And there's definitely a disconnect there. Is it about why he's dodging Kamala Harris? Yeah, I have a lot of questions. I want to know, I would want to know about why he feels that he can make things better for the working class by increasing the tax burden of the working class and giving tax breaks, huge tax breaks to the very rich. I got a lot of questions for that dude. But he's invited on this show anytime. We've actually even made the request, but we've never gotten a response so far.
Yes, and that's the part that I respect a lot about KBLA and you, Queen Dominique DiPrima, because you're not afraid to step up to the plate to ask critical questions to people who you may or may not always agree with. And I was kind of disappointed in the way our colleagues in the journalism industry reacted, because I felt like they took it personal that he was invited versus seeing it as an opportunity to grill him in the way that he needs to.
Well, Nabu Ramu, I look forward to hearing your insights from what happens in the room and how that goes down. And just so you wouldn't be mistaken for a troll, I'm going to tell you what I tell everybody right now. Kamala rhymes with Mamala. Not Kamala rhymes with Pamela or Kamala, because the Republicans have made it into a thing. Like before, it was just some people can't say her name, but now it's part of their strategy, which is mispronounce her name. So, anyway, Nabu Ramu, thank you for. It is. Let's see how that works out for them. Those of us who have multisyllabic names know that that can be a problem for certain folks. Nabu Ramu, thank you so much for joining us.
Peace and blessings. Always my pleasure.
Yeah, look forward to hearing what's going on over there. You're listening to KBLA. You're welcome to get in the conversation at any time, 800-920-1580. This is a place where we're amplifying Black and progressive voices 24/7.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% when you buy 68 or more OSB sheathing. And there's more. Save 10% on select James Hardie products when you buy in bulk. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Securing your firearms protects lives. Pick up your free gun safety lock at select LA County libraries and hospitals. Learn more about other gun safety measures you can take to keep our families and communities safe. Visit lacountygunsafety.org or call 1-833-540-0473 for more resources on gun safety. Together, we can save lives.
Looks like Bobby needs a ride again.
Grab the keys. Let's take our auntie to the swap meet. Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, do it all in a Chevy SUV. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% APR on all 2024 Silverado 1500, Blazer EV, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Colorado models. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 17.0%. Plus finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 7/31/24.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more. all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada. Member FDIC.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
So pleased to have joining us author and a very accomplished journalist who's been featured in many major publication. He's also a past president of the National Association of Black Journalists. Jarrett Hill, good morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on. I'm so confused. I just saw April Ryan on Instagram saying NABJ invited the vice president to come in person. She offered to do it virtually. They said no. They moved on. Then once there was an outcry, they circled back and said, yeah, you can do it virtually. But the vice president had already taken no for an answer. Then they were trying to get Megan Thee Stallion or someone, and the VP's office had moved on. What's your understanding?
Well, I want to say, like, I am very mixed on this, right? So, like, on one hand, I understand the norm of kind of inviting every presidential candidate to NABJ. I've been going to NABJ since 2015, and 2016 we had Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump declined. In 2020 we had Joe Biden appear virtually during COVID, Donald Trump declined. This year, they have been in talks with the Biden campaign since January, according to Ken Lemon's reporting, the statement that the president of NABJ put out, saying that they've been discussing this since January. Obviously, Joe Biden dropped out earlier this month, and that kind of threw things into a little bit of a lurch. Donald Trump has never said yes to coming, and I said yes this time. And so as we kind of see this developing story, because it's definitely happening in real time on Twitter and Instagram. And also there in Chicago, I'm feeling both ways about it, because I think there is a norm here that there are a lot of journalists in the organization that feel like we should always be interviewing presidential candidates during an election year. We should always be taking them hard questions. We should always be putting their feet to the fire. On the other side of this, though, I do feel like this is a distinctly different situation, right? I think that over the last 8 years, we've been able to see how norms are not something that exists because they are structured. Norms are something that exists because we uphold them. And Donald Trump has broken every kind of norm. Donald Trump has been incredibly antagonistic to Black people, to journalists, and specifically to Black journalists. And so to bring him to Chicago is a decision I would not have made, but I understand the deciding of that choice.
And what about the choice of the people that are actually interviewing him? I don't know those reporters personally, but one of them is, obviously from Fox News. And people are saying, what about, a Tavis Smiley or a Roland Martin or someone that would be more critical? My assumption is that the Trump organization would never agree to that.
Yeah, my understanding is that from all the reporting that I've been seeing is that they had multiple back and forths with the Trump campaign about who the folks would be. From some of the reporting that I've seen, is going to begin as Trump wanted to do a rally and take questions at the end, which NABJ declined. I don't know what all of the you can imagine, right? Like they declined. Wow, didn't see that coming.
Well, at least they declined.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, like who wants to have a Trump rally at NABJ? But I don't know what all of the different back and forth of the negotiations were, but I do know that there was back and forth about it in NABJ. According to President Ken Lemon, offered Rachel Scott from ABC News, Harris Faulkner from Fox News, who you mentioned, and Katia Goba from SEMA, for which I'm not familiar with Katia, but Harris Faulkner is a person from Fox News who is, as they are saying on social media and as you can witness on Fox News, kind of in the bag for Trump. And so that is not an encouraging thing. However, Rachel Scott, questioned Putin, right? Asked Putin hard questions. So there's a bit of a distinction between the different folks on the panel there.
Yeah, that's a great point. It doesn't seem like this genie goes back in the bottle. If the vice president has already moved on after you told her no, I don't see any resolution to this other than the panel doing the the best job that they can. James is on the chat saying that they're respecting the equal time rules. The FCC's equal time rules only apply. Actually, no one follows them anymore anyway. They're not being enforced at all. But they only apply to a live broadcast. They don't apply to panel discussions at conventions.
Yeah, no, and I think this is something that a lot of people think about but aren't sure about, like the parameters of. And as you said, equal time is something that we think about in broadcast television and radio, but it doesn't really apply in these kinds of situations where it's a convention or a live event or various other kinds of applications where we might see political candidates. I will say that, like, I think that the equal time piece of this is the norm, right? Is that this idea that we need to be able to provide balance or be able to hear from both sides. But I think it's also important to recognize, like, the both sides of this are not the same, right? Like, we're not both talking about issues and the ways that we want to approach America. I think about this as a tug of war, where over the years we've seen the left pulling on one side and we've seen the right pulling on the other side. I see Donald Trump coming in with a machete to cut the rope, right? I think of Donald Trump coming in as a person who wants to end all of this and do what he wants to do. It's not about pulling this direction or pulling that direction. It's about coming in and doing what I feel like doing. And you can look at that in Project 25. Project 2025, you can see that he wants the government to respond to him, not to the people. It's a very different thing. And I think it's also a dangerous choice to me to bring, as I said on Twitter, the head of the white supremacists who hates journalism to the Black Journalist Convention. It just doesn't seem like a safe choice, just from the perspective of having thousands of Black journalists descending on this location today, tomorrow, and throughout the week.
That's a great point, Jared Hill. The other thing I think about is the traditional role of the Black press. I think about Ida B. Wells. What would Ida B. Wells do, right? And so for us to pretend like, oh, we're just being objective, blah, 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 like as if the Black press hasn't had an advocacy role, especially in dangerous times like right now, to me, that's BS unto itself. Let's pretend we have the same luxuries that white journalists do. It's dumb.
Hey, I fully agree with you. And I teach this in class in USC, and sometimes students look at me a little sideways, but like, I believe the idea of objectivity in journalism is a fallacy. I think that the idea that we're all supposed to come in and ask the same question and look the same way, I think objectivity shows up in so many different ways. But like this idea that we're all supposed to be the same is wrong, right? It doesn't actually happen that way in practice.
Yeah.
We all see things differently, and we all ask different questions and observe it differently.
Yeah, it's not only wrong, it's like you said, it's dangerous, and it doesn't make any sense because they're not like us, to put it succinctly.
They're not like us.
To put it succinctly, they're not like us. Jared Hill, I so appreciate you jumping on here. Anything you want to say on the way out the door here?
All of that said, I'm rooting for them to win today, right? I'm rooting for them to get a good question in that he cannot answer, or for them to be able to turn this into something that works for them.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's going to happen, but I'm definitely rooting for them to win in this. And I want to remind folks, like, that organization is an organization full of Black journalists who are volunteering their time, volunteering their months, their years to this organization. And I don't want us to just kind of dismiss them and throw them away because of this decision. It's a really important thing that they're doing there.
That's a great point too, Jared. And yeah, that would be a wonderful ending to this story. Jared Hill, I appreciate you jumping on with some clarification this morning.
Absolutely.
We're talking grocery store mergers and what it does to workers and so much more when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Vice President Kamala Harris is officially the only candidate going after the Democratic presidential nomination. Tuesday night marked the deadline to seek nomination